What happens if Mojtaba Khamenei dies tomorrow? Right now, the new supreme leader of Iran is already walking a knife edge. He was wounded in the exact same strikes that killed his father. He is sheltering in a secret location, and he has not shown his face even once on television or in any public appearance since he was rushed into power just a few days ago. Both Washington and Jerusalem have openly stated that he is a legitimate military target with no special protection from the ongoing war. So the question everyone is quietly asking is what actually happens next if he is taken out suddenly. Today we are going to walk through the three most likely scenarios that experts and analysts are already tracking, and we will see exactly why each one of them carries the potential to send shockwaves across the entire Middle East and push oil prices even higher than they are right now. Let us start with the first and most probable path, a straight military takeover by the IRGC. In this scenario, the hardline generals step in immediately and take full control of the country, removing any religious figurehead and running everything through the Revolutionary Guard command structure. This transition would actually be quite smooth for them because the IRGC already controls huge parts of the economy, the missile program, and the day-to-day security apparatus, so they would simply formalize what they already dominate behind the scenes. However, the uncertainty that comes with a pure military government would be enormous, and oil markets could easily spike another 20% in a single day because nobody would know exactly who is calling the shots from one hour to the next. At the same time, this path would mean much heavier repression inside Iran and almost zero possibility of any back-channel talks with the West, locking the country into a long-term confrontation posture. Now, the second scenario is the one that keeps security analysts awake at night, a full regime fracture where the entire system begins to crack apart from the inside. Different power centers would suddenly start fighting each other. Rival clerics, military units, regional governors, and even exile groups that have been waiting for this moment would all smell blood in the water. We could see protests erupting again on a scale much larger than 2009, with cities across the country descending into chaos as factions compete for control. When Iran fractures internally, the Strait of Hormuz would almost certainly stay blocked for even longer because no single group would be strong enough to guarantee safe passage, and that single choke point carries 20% of the entire world's daily oil supply. Tankers would continue rerouting around Africa, insurance premiums would stay through the roof, and the ripple effect would hit every economy on the planet. The third and final scenario is a quicker but still fragile path where another hardliner cleric from the assembly of experts is chosen very fast to step into the role. Someone loyal to the original system but without Mojtaba's personal networks or direct IRGC ties would take over, keeping the Islamic Republic alive on paper while the whole structure emerges noticeably weaker. They would still push the nuclear program forward and maintain the same threats against Israel and the United States, but the new leader would lack the same level of internal loyalty, making the entire government more brittle and more prone to future crises. Markets absolutely hate this kind of prolonged uncertainty, which is why oil prices would remain locked well above $100 no matter which scenario plays out. To understand how different this moment feels, just look back at 1989 when Mojtaba's father took power after the death of the first supreme leader. That transition was calm, deliberate, and handled behind closed doors over several days with the assembly of experts working in an atmosphere of relative stability. This time, we are in the middle of active war, with missiles flying and sanctions biting harder than ever, so everything is moving faster, bloodier, and with far higher stakes for global energy markets. The bigger picture here is impossible to ignore. Any one of these three outcomes drags the conflict out longer rather than ending it. Shipping insurance costs stay elevated for weeks or months. International tankers keep taking the long road around Africa, adding 10 to 14 extra days to every voyage. And ordinary families at gas stations around the world feel the pain directly in higher fuel prices. The Middle East does not become more stable after such an event. It becomes even more volatile. And the next few weeks represent the single most dangerous window because Iran has an elite black-clad protection unit guarding Mojtaba 24/7 right now. Yet, in a real wartime environment, no protection is ever 100% foolproof. Reports already indicate that he quietly submitted backup names to the assembly of experts just in case, showing that even the system itself is preparing for exactly this possibility behind the scenes. Preparation does not mean the moment will be calm when it finally arrives. There are three clear triggers you should watch for in the coming days. First, any additional US or Israeli strikes that appear to target locations near his known shelter. Second, another emergency session of the assembly of experts being called suddenly. And third, a sudden 15% jump in oil prices within a single trading day because the markets are already pricing in the possibility and they often smell these shifts before the headlines catch up. This entire breakdown is not about fear-mongering or speculation for its own sake. It is simply following the exact historical patterns we have seen in every previous leadership crisis inside the Islamic Republic. The system was deliberately designed and built to survive the death of one supreme leader. Yet, losing two in rapid succession during an active shooting war is completely uncharted territory for the 47-year-old Islamic Republic. Whatever path Iran ultimately takes after such an event, one single fact remains certain. The fog of war surrounding the country is thicker and more dangerous than it has ever been before. This analysis draws only from publicly available reports, historical precedents, and observable patterns. Nothing here is guaranteed, and geopolitics can shift dramatically in a matter of hours, so make sure to check back the moment any new development breaks. If you want access to the same real-time data and charts that I track every single day, the link is waiting for you in the description below. There is no pressure at all. It is simply the exact same live information I use myself to stay ahead of the headlines. Smash that like button right now if you are tracking this rapidly evolving situation with me, because it really does help the next update reach more people who need to see it. The next video will drop the second the next major probability or oil move happens, so click over right now for the latest Hormuz 78% closure update that is already moving fast.